Literature Conclave 2021 begins here. We are going to announce the first ANTHRU International Literature Prize. To begin with, we will have a musical prayer from Saji Manyamala. Saji Manyamala is from Kerala. He is an artist, poet, and a good friend of me. Welcome, Saji Kumar, for your musical prayer. Thank you, Saji. Now it's time for welcome speech. I am inviting Mini Shajil for welcoming you all to this function.
Hello everyone. Literature Redefining World is an online publication which started in August 2020 with ANTHRU as its managing editor. The inspiration behind this was ANTHRU. He was born on April 2nd, 1937. He started his literary career at the age of 17. Though publications were a few during that time, his works found space in many of the periodicals and magazines. He started publishing books, mainly Malayalam short stories and literary essays from 2000. Since then, he published about 8 books. During his long career in literature, he published countless number of works in various print magazines. While he was very active in literature during his old age, he suddenly became sick and bedridden in 2017. He had an unfulfilled dream of becoming an editor of a magazine. The thought of literature redefining world came to fulfill this dream. Sad, he passed away on 19 December 2020. He was the man who loved literature, lived through it, and died for it. But the magazine he started attained a notable position in the world literature in a short span. In memoriam and as a mark of respect towards him, ANTHRU International Prize for Literature is constituted. It is a humble beginning from literature redefining world to acknowledge and honor the great masters of literature and arts who dedicated their life to literature. The chair of the jury who evaluated the nominations for ANTHRU International Literature Prize 2021 is Dr. Vidya Vinod, and other members of the jury are Mehrin Ahmad, Malgor Sata, and Shajil ANTHRU. Dr. Vidya Vinod is inaugurating the Global Literature Conclave and announcing the prize. She is a UAE-based Indian woman entrepreneur from Kerala. She is the president and CEO of the Study World Education Holding Group. We are extremely happy and honored to welcome Dr. Vidya Vinod to inaugurate and announce the prize. Mahri Ahmad from Australia is widely published and critically acclaimed by the literature world. She won various awards during her career as a short story writer. I extend a warm welcome to Mahri Ahmad to this inaugural session. Malgorzata is a history and English teacher who lives in Poland. She has been writing poems for nearly 20 years. She has also won many awards and published many poetry books. I heartily welcome her to this global conclave. K.M. Santosh Kumar, Shahjal Andhru, and Vivian Wilson, the team in bringing up the magazine amidst their busy schedule, are also here. Also, there are many distinguished writers and artists who joined this event. Jack Foley, Smara Di Miro Paulo, Harinder Kima, Rakesh Sharma, Surya Kirti, Smita Ghoshal, Nain Jyoti Barwa, Joker Parvez, Mary Zammit, and Saji Manimala are among the literatures and fellow members who are here. Their names are much familiar to the literature world. There are also many other writers and artists attending this function whom I did not mention by name. I welcome all to this function of K.M. Andhru International Literature Prize announcement and inauguration of Global Literature Conclave 2021. I would like to extend welcome to all the family members and friends of K.M. Andhru to this function. I am so happy that I got this opportunity to welcome you all this prize announcing function in memoriam of my father-in-law, late K.M. Andhru. Thank you.
Thank you, Mini. Now it's time for the much awaited announcement and inauguration. My father wrote, it's Pradipha Renukal, it's in Malayalam. He wrote about a writer from Kerala, Vakkam Abdul Khader. In that, he had mentioned a few things. One is, when a writer or an intellect is active, people around him worship. When he is weak or bedridden, the people will neglect. When he passes away, the society will display some sort of amnesia towards his contribution. My father, K.M. Andhru, says why this happened. This happens only when the writer is independent in thoughts and words, and not in any sort of, or confined in any sort of boundaries. This award, Global, is the K.M. Andhru International Literature Prize. It's not a competition. It's not a competition of any work. This is for honoring an artist who had lived his life for literature. So now it's time for announcement for K.M. Andhru Literature Prize. Dr. Vidya Vinod, President and CEO of Study World Education Holding Group, our jury chairperson, who will be announcing this prize and inaugurating the conclave.
Mini Shahjal Andhru, K.M. Santosh Kumar, Mehreen Ahmed, Malgorzata, fellow members of Litterature RW, other literateurs and artists present here. A warm welcome from me and Study World Education Holding. I'm extremely happy and honored to become the part of the Global Literature Conclave, an initiative of Literature Redefining World, a transnational magazine from Kerala, India. Also, I'm happy to become the first jury person for the K.M. Andhru Prize for Literature. K.M. Andhru renowned writer from Kerala, who wrote in mother tongue, led a very simple life and showed his literacy skills throughout his career in diverse ways. The response to the nomination call for K.M. ANTHRU Prize was exciting, and we got ample number of nominations, which made jury tough. The key factors which we considered during the evaluation were the years of literary activities, presence in both print and online media, number of literary genres, other artistic activities, and their contribution to literature with studies in novel ideas or experiments. All the jury members unanimously selected Mr. Jack Foley from California as the topper in the evaluation, and I heartily announce the first in 2021 K.M. ANTHRU Prize for Literature goes to Jack Foley from California. I would like to add why we consider Jack Foley as a winner. Jack Foley was born in August 1940 in Neptune, New Jersey. As an excellent student and with the aid of his local library, Foley read widely and soon exploring the works of various poets. At 15, he realized that whatever else he was now and forever a poet. Foley's parents could not afford him to send him to college, but he surprised them by winning scholarship money that enabled him to attend first Cornell University in Ithaca, New York, and then University of California at Berkeley. Foley worked hard as a graduate student at Berkeley and tried to keep his poetry going amid all the furor of the 60s. Eventually, Foley dropped out of school. He wanted to become a poet. Foley also developed various techniques of writing and presenting poetry. He persuaded his wife Adele to help him perform what he called choruses, a word that conjured up both the ancient Greeks and world of musical comedy. In 1988, Berkeley radical station KPFM-FM offered Jack a radio show. That show continues to this day. Foley created a tap dance poem which featured not only his words but a bit of an art his father taught him. Over the years, Foley published a multitude of books with various publishers, books of poetry, but books of essays as well. Foley continues to write, perform, and think about poetry. In 1955 to 2021 is a long journey in which Jack Foley had chosen poetry and writing for his breathing. His presence in print and online media is really commendable. He writes poetry, prose, essays, stories, dramas, and has his signature in all genres of literature. Performance of courses and tap dance poems are innovative in the literature world. We thankfully acknowledge the nomination of Jack Foley and heartily congratulate him for his achievement and wish him all healthy and energy to contribute more to literature. The organizers had chosen an anniversary function of Literature Redefining World to hold the Global Literature Conclave as well. In coming days, there will be more poetry, fiction, paintings, and literary discussions and speeches which will enrich the celebration. I consider this as good, innovative initiative and wish all success for this team and magazine in the future. I'm glad to declare this Global Literature Conclave 2021 conducted by Literature Redefining World as inaugurated. Thank you.
I think I would add a few words about the award and Jack Foley sir before handing over the session to him. I remember the first message in form of email which I got from Jack Foley sir was in response to my message. That was on 13th August 2020. He sent me a bunch of poems, short story for considering in the Litterature Magazine. And the first poem, it was titled Love. I think you remember it. The poem is like this. Love is a two-sided mirror. My love is reflected in one side. Your love is reflected in the other. But it is in one mirror and it turns. What a beautiful poem. Then I was confused because he had sent so many poems. I was confused which poem I publish. And there was a short story there, Man on Whom the Sun Has Gone Down. Since I was unable to choose one poem for publication, I thought I will go with the short story. And I have the magazine here. Jack Foley story printed here in 3 pages. Man on Whom the Sun Has Gone Down. I would like to call your attention to 2 paragraphs of this story. It starts the story like this. There is more terror in the day than in the night. Only today I saw a man berate his child and strike him. I might have been the child. I saw an automobile swerving around the corner, going too fast. I must have been a pedestrian struck down by the automobile. Indeed, I might have been one of the leaves that fell down from the tree this morning. I read on the internet that someone in my neighborhood had been mugged. I walk alone, great distances with no protection. I too might be mugged. It might happen that a thief would accost me and hurt me while robbing me. It has happened to others. See, whatever narrated in 1 paragraph here is still happening and can happen around us. In between the lines, you can see the author Jack Foley, how he perceived the agony and anguish of others. He is not the man who cheers at others' decline. He has a heart which becomes sober when he sees other man's misery. It extends to nature also. You can see here he has written that I might have been one of the leaves that fell from the tree this morning. He's looking around the nature. This reflects a true literature. In the second paragraph, he starts the paragraph like this. During the night, I can close my eyes and enter a dark wood. During the night, I can dream or enter a void in which I no longer need to cling to my identity. My age no longer matters. My name no longer matters. Sometimes dead people visit me, but that they carry no fear with them. I feel it is only concern for the living. You can see an interesting observation here. A man with closed eyes and man with open eyes. They see things differently, and that too in opposite poles. So, what should I say? This is only an introduction of the story. The story has not started. So, I thought I will start publishing him by this story. Since I was confused with this point, even looking in this line, it is poetic. The lines in this story is poetic. And I would challenge all to edit one word from this story, if you can, without changing the meaning. That is jackpot. So I'm happy that you are the first ANTHRU prize winner. So I'm very happy. Congratulations from all of us here. So next is your turn.
Shajil had sort of hinted to me that I could maybe put together a little speech, if not for this, for something else, you know. And I have a speech. Thank you for that always intelligent response to my work. It's a deep pleasure and a little bit, for me, of a surprise. Not because of you, but because of me. Throughout your writing life, you never know whether anyone will understand or pick up on your work. You just do the best you can. For many years, no one paid attention to my work at all. This is no longer the case. But you don't forget those years. I can't tell you how much your intelligent appreciation of my work means to me and encourages me. I recently received an email from my friend, the poet, Andreas Weiland. He's 76 years old, a little younger than I am. Andreas is bilingual in German and English, and he lives in Germany, where there have been a considerable amount of flooding and some deaths. He writes, "We are okay. Many are not. Quite a few died and others are missing. Extreme weather is here to stay as a recurrent possibility. Drought, water resources dwindling, forests dying. We had that not long ago. Though not as bad as the situation in the Central Valley of California, where farmers get no rain and winter rain doesn't work when the wells are empty. We had completely unknown extreme speeds of wind this year in a part of Germany. 3 times the usual maximum speed. Global warming is no fun. I hope you're okay in Oakland. I wish so much that future generations will still find a planet that is habitable. What do we do about a world in which this is true? Build rocket ships so that we can inhabit and then destroy another planet? A poem came to me, partly in French. La sottise américaine is having its way. Sottise. A sottise is a short satirical play common in 15th and 16th century France. The word comes from the sot, fools, who appear as characters in the play. In these plays, the fools make observations and exchange thoughts on contemporary events and individuals. Their comments are what make up la sottise. Compare the English word besotted. La sottise américaine is having its way. How can we change things? How can we speak to people who have their minds made up and will not listen? The answer is that they believe in, they are listening to a story, just as we are listening to a story. You don't change people's opinions. You change their stories. The opinions are the products of the stories. That is the only way that anything like the real can make itself known. The reason my opinions differed from those of my parents was that, quite unintentionally, I listened to stories different from theirs. By the time my parents figured this out, if they figured it out, it was too late. For them, their stories were not stories. They were reality. For me, too, the stories I heard seemed to be reasonable, compassionate, real enough. It was post-World War II. The stories I heard were all about the equality of man, a term which at that time included women. The Nazis, our enemy, were all about the inequality of man. Yuval Noah Harari argues in *Sapiens*, an interesting book, that the imagination is an evolutionary tool. In the 19th century, what the poet William Blake called the dark satanic mills, the world of the Industrial Revolution, had achieved such strength that a poet like Wordsworth had to experience the imagination as an apocalyptic event. It comes upon him, just taking him over. It's not something he can just use, use your imagination, make something up. No, it comes to him, stopping him. He's not moving in the way that he usually moves. You can find this in the prelude, Wordsworth's film. For us, there are various modes, including science, in which we can discover hope. One of the strongest of these is the power of story, imagination. Even in its debased forms, story has immense power. Let me tell you a story about the wickedness of man. Let me tell you a story about man's compassion and hope. Everyone is a storyteller. It is part of what the birth of language instilled in us. It is the task of the most passionate of storytellers, the artist, to open the real, if only for a moment, and allow us to see the magic at the heart of life, to see that life is openness and possibility. It was the task of those dark satanic mills to close life. Not I, wrote D.H. Lawrence, but the wind that blows through. Jack Kerouac wrote, you don't have to be a Catholic to experience the Holy Ghost. This is a little poem. Sophia, you perhaps know the name Sophia means wisdom. And you perhaps are familiar with what happened to St. Paul on the road to Damascus when a voice cried out to him, Saul, Saul, why do you persecute me? And he suddenly was blind and fell. He had no idea what happened to him. And he changed. He had been a great persecutor of Christians. He became Christian. Lady Sophia moves among the shadows. You long for her to be your lover. Lady Sophia whispers to you, half awakened, so you're not certain whether it is a dream speaking or she. Like the death goddess in Cocteau's Orpheus, she tells you things you never knew, but then pours Lethe's waters into your thirsting mouth. She has a friend who is even more shadowy than she, who lives in a large echoing house. The friend is beautiful, but mute. Her hands make incomprehensible signs. I saw them both, these women, on the terrible road to Damascus, just before I heard a voice asking a question I could not answer. Everything changed then. New story. I have a longish poem here. I don't want to take up too much time, and I'm not going to read this. It's about myself. It's called Bio. I'll read you a little bit of it. I was formed by what in America is called the golden age of old radio, and by black and white movies we now call noir, the French word for black. I realized I adored the Beatles, Dylan, the Stones, etc. in the 1960s. But now it's Berlin, Porter, Weill, Gershwin that stay with me, to say nothing of the great Charles Ives. I'm haunted by the song Lost in the Stars, Weill's great song about the absence of God. a companion to Lenin's atheist anthem, Imagine. I have learned much from many. I've known some famous people, though a famous poet is like an obscure person in another art. I've enjoyed some fame myself. I claim to have been formed by my early Catholicism, but wonder whether that is a self-serving myth fueling my all too likely narcissism. I had a mother and a father whom I have discussed at length in my work. I have a son whom I love and who loves me. We discuss our various arts, poetry, and history together. At 81, I stand on a sort of precipice. The angry sea is below me. A deep valley is behind. The wind is in my hair, much of which has abandoned me as I age. I have a sense of portent. I wish I knew the meaning of this dream, but I awaken from it happy. This is a lie. I've never had a dream about the sea in the night. This is nothing but the sweet folly of self-reflection, the fiction of what we call living in the world. For a writer, words are a world, though they are not the only world in the world. I weep when I read the arc of another's life. And this is another different kind of poem. That one had a lot of biographical information in it, more than I gave you. And this is a totally fictional, imagined piece, though it's deeply indebted to a writer you may know of, the American Raymond Chandler, one of the great sources of what we call noir. He wrote The Big Sleep, among many other books. Very fine writer. And I'm parodying some of what he did in this poem. It's called Noir. She stared at me the way an empty tin can stares at a cooked peach. She was wearing black panties and no bra. She said no to me in Chinese. I didn't understand Chinese. If she had any more curves, she would have been an illegal pitch. She said, "How long have you been around?" I said, "Long enough to know trouble when I see it." And I see it. She said, "Trouble. How do you spell that?" I said, T-H-A-T. The revolver was still hot in her hand. Her husband lay dead at her feet. "I didn't do it," she said. I believed it. "How long had your husband been in a wheelchair?" I inquired. "Since a few hours after our wedding night." "He couldn't move anymore?" "He didn't move then." She said, "My name's Virtue." I said, "I knew your sister, Prudence." She said, "How many times a week?" She said, "I usually take a book to bed, but when I don't have a book, I have to make do with what I've got. You like red pajamas?" She said, "You want to know how to make a film noir? Turn off the lights." Long pause. I turned off the lights. When she took off her clothes, she was a violent red bird with a beak of gold. We can tell the truth of our lives. We can make things up. All these things are activities of the imagination. It's one of the great tasks, one might say missions, of Litterateur RW, to rouse the imagination in every respect. That is the way in which we can redefine the world. Let the imagination show us new possibilities on every level. Let it light up a world in which all people are brothers and sisters. I am honored to be a part of this wonderful effort. Only the imagination is real, wrote William Carlos Williams. I've declared it. Time to end it. Again, thank you for this deep honor. I am, what can I say, delighted.
Okay, speech.
And now we will go for the vote of thanks by our jury, Małgorzata from Poland.
Hello everybody, my name is Małgorzata Borzeszkowska, I am from Poland, and I would like to read out something I prepared for this very first day of our fantastic event. Dear participants of Global Literature Conclave, poets and writers, as well as representatives of the entire range of fine arts, performers, photographers, painters. It is a great honor for me to be able to, at least this way, to participate in the opening of this fantastic event. For various reasons, today it is only possible through the recording, but I still feel to be there with you. I am wholeheartedly with everyone for whom literature is an important part of life, well, which often even defines them. With those who perceive literature as not only a way to express desires, hopes, deep thoughts, or describe their reality, but also those who want to connect people, change and make the world a better place. Thanks to art and literature, I think that ANTHRU's initiative has just such a goal, a change for the better. Changing the world through literature and literary activities, redefining the world. That is what Shail talks about. My adventure with literature redefining world has been going on for a year, and a year ago I wouldn't have imagined that it would develop so quickly. Anyway, I really admire Mr. ANTHRU's idea of connecting people of various parts of the world, different languages and cultures by means of the most beautiful parts of our existence. Love, passion, and, of course, literature. I would also like to congratulate the winner of the first edition of Mr. ANTHRU's award. It was a great privilege of mine to take part in a jury choosing them. For me, it was a great experience, although I must admit that if it was possible, I would have selected more persons for the award, but unfortunately, regulations rules are clear. I would very much like to congratulate Mr. Foley. And first of all, I would like to thank him for sharing with us his wonderful creativity and extraordinary original ideas. Also, from the bottom of my heart, I thank Dr. Vidya Vinod and Maureen Ahmed. By the way, I just have to say that women are fantastic poets and writers. Thanks to all the women who write. And last but not least, I would like to congratulate you all and thank you for the fact that in today's crazy and painful world, you find time and willingness to share your works with others. Thank you on behalf of Literature Redefining World. I wish you good luck and hope we will meet in a couple of days' time. Goodbye.
Thank you, Małgorzata. Now the inauguration function of Global Literature Conclave 2021 and the announcement of ANTHRU Prize is over. Thanks for all of the literators who had joined here from the team of literature. Once again, Thank you and congratulations, Jack Foley, sir. And wish you a very good, happy birthday, a very good year for you ahead. Be healthy.
You've made the birthday a wonderful birthday and a memorable one for me. So thank you very, very much. Marvelous birthday present.